What's good, my beautiful Libras? I am here to do your very first monthly reading. So, welcome to Conjuring Queendom Tarot. I'm super excited to be doing all of this during the astrological new year. Super excited to deliver your spread right now. Everything is new, everything is budding, everything is springing up. So, what better time? I've already pulled all of your cards. We are going to be doing a 5-card elemental spread. That'll be one card for every element and then a message from Spirit. We're going to jump right on in. The 7 of Cups reversed, 7 of Water reversed is actually going to be your spirit message. And it's really interesting because I feel like this card is really representative of not only our choices, right? Having too many choices to be able to decide. It also can talk about intoxication, being not in the right state of mind to make a decision. It also, for me, talks more so about how is it that we make our decisions. What is it that drives us to pick a certain thing or to choose a certain thing? Sometimes it's not necessarily about what you pick, but how you pick things apart, how you make a decision. If you want something and there's, multiple ways to get there, or, I'll show it right side up too so you can see. Multiple ways to get there, or there's multiple things in the background. Sometimes the best thing is to not pick and to understand why those choices are being offered to you. Sometimes the best choice is not to make a choice. Sometimes the best choice, is saying, hey, none of these options are in alignment for me. A lot of people don't know how to say no, even when they're presented with things that are not necessarily for their benefit. It's okay to decide that something is not for you. It's okay to decide that, hey, all 7 of these things are really not for me, but I'll stay open to an 8th option. Sometimes that is the test. Sometimes, again, it's a measure of learning how we decide certain things. So it's not as much, again, what we pick, but how we pick that thing apart. Moving right along to the earth element, you've got the reverse. I believe this is 9 of air. This card is cruelty. We talked about picking things apart, and as you can see, this poor little guy is just it's time to also, in the physical, pick apart the things that leave you vulnerable, the things that have you exposed, the things that are gut-wrenching, right? And they allow people access to the most, the deepest, darkest parts of you, right? Like, bruh's whole organs are out. So this card talks a lot about, how is it, what do we do with our being exposed? What do we do with our vulnerabilities? How do we go about those things, right? How do we learn from being so exposed? I feel like a lot of times when we feel vulnerable, it feels like weakness instead of information. This is telling you, especially it's in the earth placement with an air sign. This is letting me know, or an air element rather. This is letting me know that there's something that torments you in the physical that really torments you in the mental that really reflects in the physical. Something very psychosomatic going on. Again, with that much exposure, this is all about what are you learning from being torn apart like this. You can see all of your organs, you can see all of these things. It's funny, it's like those projects in school where you have to dissect a frog. I never did it, it's that's yucky. But this is all about, what did you learn about your innermost self? And then what do you do with that information? Now that you know what exposure feels like, now that you know what those vulnerabilities look like, how do you help other people who are just as exposed as you? How do you help other people? How do you guide yourself through these moments that seem so cruel, right? That's what's on the card, is cruelty. How is it that the mind can be cruel to itself? A lot of times people don't understand we are our own worst critics. And sometimes that leaves deeper scarring than what, the opinion of somebody else can do. Pardon me. But yeah, this is basically just saying, excuse me, Libra, I'm so sorry. This is basically saying that you need to get in touch with how it is how it is, you're vulnerable, you're exposed, and what it is you do with the information once you have it. Once you understand, how you were able to be dissected this way, how you were able to be, cut open in this way, what were the things that led you to this point, and how then do you sew yourself back together so that you're able to deliver this information to other people in like situations. Moving right along, you've got the Hierophant. I love this card. It's so beautiful. You see on it, it has all of the religions. This card is very representative of tradition. Contractual bindings. This can be marriage. This could be, again, religious indoctrination. This can be all sorts of things. But most of the time, this is that high priestess energy down in the earth realm. This is, divine priestly guidance that actually we can see, we can touch, we can understand from a physical perspective. This is telling me some of you, especially with this illusion card on the board, some of you might be struggling in your marriage. Your marriage might not look the way that it used to look. Your marriage, your partnership, some sort of agreement that you used to have just is not the same as it used to be, or it's not a choice that you would make again if you had it to do over. I also feel like, especially because we have so much time on our hands right now, there's a lot of people who are spending more time together than they normally would. So it's like almost getting to learn your partner in a whole different way all over again. That can be really rough for a lot of people. So, especially with the psychological turmoil too on the board, I feel like maybe some of you are experiencing... That's funny, because as I look down, I see the tower peeking out from under the Father of Water. Some of you might be experiencing really drastic changes, in your marriages or in relationships with partners, like business partners. It could also mean, too, that you're coming into your more spiritual self and less aware of, religion. Some people really have a hard time tapping into astrology or tarot or whatever because they have been, brought up in the church. They've been taught, one thing, and that's what they're going to stick with. And by all means, I don't have a fractured relationship at all with Christianity or with any religion. So, I understand that line of thinking. Also, don't let religious indoctrination stop you from connecting with your Creator in a way that makes sense for you, in a way that feels good for you. I know a lot of people, especially who have a hard time with their sexual identity or their, sexual preference, have a hard time because, so many books say, what you're doing is wrong and what have you. So some of you may be really struggling with that religious aspect. Some of you really might be feeling a way about these contractual agreements that you've made. Again, you wouldn't have made them the same if you had it. You wouldn't have made those decisions if you had it to do over again. Some of you, again, being disillusioned or having, thoughts that keep you up at night about your partner, about your marriage and what that could look like. Some of you are feeling great about, your marriage, and you're not paying attention to certain signs. You're not paying attention to certain things that are trying to tell you, hey, there's something that you don't necessarily see. There's something here that is leaving you open, leaving you vulnerable. For others of you, again, it could just be, going through a spiritual awakening and having to reconcile that with your religion. It's possible. It is possible. You can believe in whatever you believe in, and you can make it work for you. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. Creator wants a personal relationship with you, regardless of what that looks like. Okay? Moving right along to the air element, we got the reverse Father of Fire. Right side up, that's what that guy looks like. This lets me know some of you are having a hard time. You might be dealing with a person who's super bossy or like they are the leader and that's it. What they say goes and, that's that. Some of you might be those people who are really laying the law down, really being almost tyrannical and kind of out of pocket, to say the least. I do understand that a lot of this comes from a good place, but just be mindful of how, especially like I said, a lot of your psychological turmoil is coming, it's psychosomatic. It's coming from a mental space that isn't necessarily, there's an illusion in between these cards, right? I have them lined up like this. Okay, so with this illusion in the middle, it's hard for you to really see what is accurate. It's hard for you to really decipher right now, okay, this energy that I'm experiencing mentally doesn't necessarily have to manifest in the physical, but for you it really is. So get to the bottom of, okay, what is this oppressive ass energy, this bossy ass energy that is telling me things have to look one way or no way at all. Or if you're dealing with a person who, is trying to tell you, look, it needs to be like this, it has to look like this, or I'm out. How did you come to that position that you're in? How did you end up with that partner? How did you end up with that energy around you? And what can you do to navigate and to kind of mitigate that? When I see the Father of Fire, I know how easy he can burn a bridge. But again, it all comes from a good place. They really, this could be Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. They tend to be people of good integrity, very good intentions, but not always on point with the delivery. So just keep that in mind. And then again, if this is you, be mindful of your delivery. Be mindful of how you're talking to people. Be mindful of how you're existing around people, because the way that you're thinking right now and the way it's manifesting in your physical, they have a lot to do with one another. And it's because there's a decision that needs to be made or should have been made, or again, you're not in the right space, the right headspace to be making a decision, which is okay. Sometimes you do need to step back, maybe pray about it, and figure out a different way, a different person, a different time, a different something to help you to rectify this situation. At least for yourself internally, even if it has nothing to do with anyone else. Excuse me. Really try to understand again how your thoughts really affect your physical. How whatever it is you're thinking is really showing up in the physical form, and it's not just thought anymore. It's actual manifestation now. It is hard to manifest when you feel like you have so many options on the table. It is hard to pick and choose something when you're like, holy shit, there's so much that I could choose from or choose to do, or so many people that I can, be with, or what have you. So many religions to partake in. Try to, again, if nothing fits, sometimes that's the test. Right over here where you have your fire, maybe a lot of you are really just so missing work with all of this shit going on. A lot of us are just at home, bored. Okay? This is the time for you to really get clear about what it is you want to create in your workspace. This is a really good time to understand how to work with others instead of how to kind of manage others and be in control of others, but how can you work in tandem with other people? How can you, approach something from a more lateral point of view? This is also saying now is the time to create. If you're a creative, if you're an artist, if that's something that you've been really trying to tap into, something that you've already tapped into, now's the time to work. Do not let this idle time be wasted. Do not let, having free time mean you're not working. You need to come up with creative ways to actually stay in the workplace or stay, doing something that is work either related or passion project related, so that you can come out of this fucking lockdown or isolation, social distancing, whatever you're going through, how you can come out better, how you can come out stronger, how you can come out with, dope collaborations. How can you work with people, be it virtually or, coming up with a new way to make things work is what I'm hearing. A lot of people, especially healers in the community, I know a lot of us have struggled with, especially hands-on healers, people, do Reiki or energy work, limpias, things like that. I know they're having a really hard time, especially with all of this, because that human contact is damn near forbidden right now. So it's like, coming up with a virtual way to do things, or coming up with another way, a more creative way to get your message out, or to get your healing out, or to get your work done. That's going to be huge. This time is supposed to teach us how do we utilize, technology in a better, more helpful way than memes. How do we utilize, this technology that was gifted to us in a way that will better our businesses, that will better our connections with people, even if we can't physically do that. So now, again, it's just a time to say, put in the work, especially if it's for a passion project. This is not just you sitting on your laptop all day shooting off emails. This is you sitting on your laptop, shopping for your business. This is you on your laptop, again, doing virtual session, or, putting content online that is accessible to more people than what you had, in your original clientele base. This is all about expansion and using other people to do that. Make this a time where you are able to collaborate. Make this a time where you, again, are, even if it's calling in these other people to help you to make these decisions, or, to help guide you toward what is in better alignment for you. Allow other people to come in and help you, especially when you're feeling like this. I know there's a lot of things at play, especially for Libra. Always, you guys are always weighing both sides of the thing, which is smart. It's a good thing to do. Libras are incredibly smart. I also want you to work on allowing other people in, allowing other people to guide, allowing other people to show you and to show up. Again, if you're having a hard time with your partnership, if you're having a hard time in your marriage, or if you're having a hard time with your religious space, or any sort of like traditional aspects of life, now's a good time to maybe switch it up. Get creative. Do something different that works for you. Do something different that, will allow you deeper access not only to yourself but to other people around you, because really at the end of the day, it's all about that connection, not only with your creator, but that connection with other people and that connection with yourself. You guys are really dealing, and again, I said you have the Father of Water at the bottom of the deck. I don't know if I showed you this already or not, but this has a lot to do with being able to speak your emotions, being able to utilize your emotions in a positive sense instead of letting them destroy you and drown you. This is, especially with two fathers of opposing elements, you've got to really step into the maturity of not only fire and being able to direct and tell people and manage and make shit happen and manifest, but this is also, how can I nurture? How can I bring peace, and how can I bring my emotions to the table in a healthy way that doesn't necessarily require me to be completely exposed and vulnerable, but can be useful when I see that other people are vulnerable or are scared or what have you, they need help. How can I better facilitate that? A lot of times, again, especially if you're going through a spiritual awakening, if you're going through something with your partner, we get so caught up in that thing, we forget, what our mission is, what our purpose is. Our purpose didn't, I just know for a fact, we might have husbands, wives, what have you. That wasn't the only thing we were sent here to do. Some of us, came here and they, religion is their thing. We all know those people who, they go to church on Sunday, on Wednesday, on Thursday. They are in church every day. Hell, we know those people, right? That is beautiful. And I'm not telling you to stop doing that. But I am saying, is your connection truly with your creator, or is your connection with a religion? Is your connection, is your brethren really what you're seeking? Is your soul tribe what you're seeking? Are you using this religion to kind of give you an identity, right? Again, not that any of those things are bad. I don't want anybody to be like, oh my gosh, she told me not to go to church. But, I do want you to understand why you are doing what you're doing. Make sure that, in your marriages, in your relationships, in your contractual bindings, like things like partnerships in business or whatever, make sure that those are coming from a healthy place and that you are not living in illusion because you're unwilling to see signs. You're unwilling to tap into, hey, this isn't exactly what I would have chosen for you. This isn't exactly where, your alignment is. This isn't exactly what Creator said was meant for you. It's okay to honor tradition and also include and embrace forward momentum. Libra, you have a pretty beautiful spread, I think. I do feel like this message is a little bit more specific. I don't know why I feel that way, but if it resonates, I'm so happy. If it doesn't, leave me a comment below. Tell me, more about, what you want to get into. If, you want a longer video, or, you want me to go more in depth, or just none of it hit. That's fine too. I love you all. Libra is one of my very favorite signs, especially my feminine Libras. I really hope this message catches you in a space that will allow you to receive whatever it is you need to receive. Be it, learning how to make a decision or how you make decisions. If it's something to do with your lovership, your partnerships, if it's something to do with just how you've been manifesting fucked up thoughts on accident or what have you, how to better collaborate. I really hope that any and all of it touches you in some way. Leave me a comment below. Tell me how you feel. Like, share, subscribe. I love you all. Thank you so much. Keep it groovy, Libra. I'll see you next time.